Have you ever noticed how a disorderly life charges you dearly? It doesn't have to be blatant chaos. Sometimes it's that delay that seems harmless, the messy drawer that reflects the confused mind, or the "I'll do it later" that turns into weeks of stagnation. The problem is that when disorder sets in, it quietly takes over. A delay here, a bad habit there, and before you know it, you're stuck in a directionless cycle, like a rudderless boat in a storm. The Stoic philosophers had been warning about this for centuries. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and warrior, said that those who do not command themselves become slaves to circumstances. Epictetus reminded us that it is not what happens to us, but how we react, that defines our freedom. And Seneca, always practical, taught that wasting time is the greatest waste. Discipline for them was not punishment, but the only key capable of transforming chaos into clarity. And here's the truth that few have the courage to face. Without discipline, you don't have freedom. Does it seem contradictory? Think about it. Those who do not master their own habits are dominated by them. Those who do not organize their own minds end up being organized by the distractions of the world. And while you postpone, life doesn't wait. It's hard to admit, but necessary. Either you take control now, or you'll be swept away by the current to places you didn't choose. If you feel like you need to turn the key, this video is for you. Here we will talk directly, bluntly, about how self-discipline can become your greatest ally, bringing order, purpose, and clarity. So subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because if you've made it this far, it's no coincidence. Something in you has already understood that it is time to take the next step. Look around you. When there is no order, life begins to crack at the edges. It's like a house without a foundation. Any stronger wind threatens to bring everything down. Without direction, every problem seems bigger than it is. Every distraction becomes irresistible. Every emotion takes the wheel and drives for you. The result? A daily life full of rush but without real progress. You feel like you're always putting out fires, but never building anything solid. The Stoics understood this clearly. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire while facing wars and crises, knew that if he did not organize his own mind, he would be swallowed up by external chaos. And between us, modern life is no less demanding. Notifications, deadlines, demands, everything vying for your attention. If you don't put order, you are dominated. If you don't set priorities, someone else sets it for you. And notice the lack of order does not appear all at once. It infiltrates little by little. It's the "I'll fix it later," the "just 5 more minutes," the "no problem, tomorrow I'll make up for it." But tomorrow becomes a week becomes a month, and when you least expect it, the years have passed. What should be a life with purpose turns into a sequence of flavorless repetitions, and no one wants to reach the end and realize that they lived on automatic. Therefore, the first step is simple but profound. Recognize that without order, everything is lost. It's not about rigidity, but about minimal structure so that you can move forward. It's like cleaning the desk before starting work. It seems like a detail, but it completely changes the internal environment. When life is organized, the weight decreases, the mind clears, and the road begins to appear before you. Here's a truth that hurts but liberates. Nothing in life can be arranged by itself. Time, as much as it heals wounds, does not organize what you continue to neglect. Leaving everything in the hands of fate may sound nice, but in practice, it is an elegant way to escape responsibility. If your table, your mind, or your life are in disarray, no miracle will put everything in order while you watch from the balcony. Seneca already warned that there is no favorable wind for those who do not know where they are going. And that's exactly what happens when we wait for time to do the heavy lifting. A messy room doesn't tidy up as the days go by. Neither is a messy life. On the contrary, the more time passes, the more chaos accumulates, like a pile of forgotten clothes that only grows. This reality check may seem too harsh, but it is the shock needed to awaken. Life won't wait for you to feel ready. The world moves on, with or without your active participation. While you postpone, someone else acts. While you procrastinate, someone else moves forward. And this hurts because it shows that the difference between those who grow and those who stand still is not talent, but action. So face this blow head on. There will not be a magical moment when everything will resolve itself. Change begins when you admit that you are responsible for the current state of your life. That is the starting point. It hurts to admit, but it's liberating to know that if the problem isn't going to solve itself, the solution is up to you. And that means it's in your hands. Procrastination is treacherous because it masquerades as rest, patience, even wisdom. How many times have you said to yourself, "I'll do it later, I'll solve it later, it's not urgent now"? This later is a silent thief who steals your time, your energy, and above all, your opportunities. Basically, postponing is choosing the easiest path at the moment, but the heaviest in the future. Epictetus, who knew well about discipline and overcoming, said that enduring what is difficult now makes life lighter later. But procrastination inverts this logic. It offers lightness now in exchange for double weight tomorrow. It's like pushing dirt under the rug. It may look clean for a while, but sooner or later the dust overflows. What was simple to solve becomes a monster. And here's the trick. You often convince yourself that you're just waiting for the right moment, but that moment never comes. The perfection you hope for is a mirage in the desert. The farther you walk toward it, the farther away it gets. Meanwhile, the chances pass, time passes, and you continue to stand still, believing that one day the ideal conditions will appear. The way out? Break this cycle with immediate action, even if imperfect. Life rewards those who act, not those who wait. The Stoic lesson is clear. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. And every time you exchange the after for the now, you're training your mind for discipline. You're building internal muscle to beat yourself. This is perhaps the hardest part to hear. No one will come to save you. There is no mentor, guru, or friend who will take the wheel of your life for you. There may even be people who help you on the way, but the responsibility of building your road is yours alone. When you understand this, you stop living as a victim of circumstances and start living as the author of your own story. The Stoics hammered this idea all the time. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that each one must be the architect of his own life, remembering that not controlling everything is no excuse for not controlling anything. Yes, many things are out of your reach, but the choices, the discipline, the way you react, that's always in your hands. And it is in this space that his true freedom lives. Taking responsibility does not mean carrying the world alone. It means to stop outsourcing blame. It's easier to say that life is messed up because others don't understand you, because the family doesn't help, because the government, because work. But as you dish out excuses, the chaos only grows. Personal responsibility is looking in the mirror and saying, "I'm the one who needs to change, and I'm going to start now." It is at this point that life takes a leap. When you decide to stop waiting for the external savior, you discover that you already had the tools to build within you. Change starts small, in simple but firm decisions. And little by little, this attitude takes root. With each conscious choice, you strengthen the conviction that yes, it is possible to be the architect of one's own life. There's no point in running if you don't know where you're going. Living without direction is like paddling hard in the open sea. A lot of effort, but no real progress. Life without clear goals becomes a cycle of constant occupation without concrete achievements. You arrive at the end of the day exhausted, but with the feeling that you have not made progress. Driving is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Without it, discipline turns into wasted effort. Seneca already warned, "Life is long enough if it is well used." The problem is that many people use too much energy on unimportant things. He works hard but without clarity. It runs but in circles. This is where the long-term vision comes in, setting a destination so that every action, no matter how small it may seem, connects to a greater purpose. Otherwise, you will be held hostage to momentary urgencies that lead nowhere. Having vision does not mean waiting for the future to arrive. It means building the future in the present, brick by brick. Want to write a book? Start with 1 page a day. Want to improve your health? Adjust a meal now. Want financial freedom? Save a fixed amount today. The key is to align the small daily actions with the big purpose you've set. This consistency over time creates extraordinary results. And here's the point. It's not enough to act a lot. You have to do it right. Direction gives meaning to discipline. It prevents you from wasting energy on battles that don't matter. When you are clear about where you want to go, even difficulties gain new value. They cease to be obstacles and become steps. And it is in this alignment that Stoic philosophy shows its strength. Purpose is not the final destination. It is a compass for the path. Life doesn't change in giant leaps, but in small decisions repeated every day. It may seem like an exaggeration, but it's the truth. Your future is hidden in the habits you nurture today. The breakfast you choose, the way you react to criticism, the time you spend on your phone before bed, all of these are building or destroying your tomorrow. Epictetus said that we are not made by the things that happen to us, but by the way we choose to deal with them. And this choice happens in every detail. Choosing to get out of bed at the first alarm is already a victory against laziness. Deciding to finish a task before opening social media is a discipline workout. Small gestures, when repeated, become part of who you are. The problem is that we underestimate these choices. We think they're irrelevant because they look too small. But repetition turns small actions into destiny. A glass of soda a day doesn't seem like anything until it turns into health problems. In the same way, 15 minutes of daily reading seems little until you realize that you have read 10 books in a year. Everything is cumulative. So the question is, what choices have you been repeating? Because they are the ones who are shaping your character, your mind, and your future. If you want real transformation, start with today, with now. Don't expect big turnarounds. They start with the simple. The Stoics knew that each day was an opportunity to get closer to or move away from the virtuous life. And that is the decision that is before you right now. How many times have you postponed something important because it wasn't the right time yet? This is one of the biggest mistakes in life. The perfect moment does not exist. There will always be a lack of money, courage, time, or motivation. And if you continue to hope that conditions are ideal, you will realize too late that you have stood still while the world has moved on. The truth is simple. Those who wait never start. The Stoics understood this clearly. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled in the midst of constant crises, could not afford to wait for calm to act. He needed to decide in the midst of the storm. And we are no different. Life rarely gives us a clean scenario without noise or difficulties. It is precisely in the midst of chaos that discipline must flourish. Those who act even in imperfect conditions grow faster than those who wait for a day that never comes. What many people forget is that action generates clarity. When you start, even if clumsily, the pieces will fall into place. Fear decreases, confidence increases, and the sense of progress appears. It's like driving at night. The headlights don't illuminate the entire road, but they show enough to take the next step. And this is how life is built, in stretches illuminated by small actions. So don't fall into the trap of expecting perfection. Start now with what you have, the way you can. Adjustments will always be necessary, but there is no growth without movement. Chaos is not an enemy, but the natural scenario of transformation. Those who understand this stop looking for excuses and discover that the perfect time is always this: now. The environment you live in speaks volumes about the state of your mind. A messy desk, a disorganized room, a chaotic routine. All of this is a direct reflection of your interior. But the opposite is also true. When you organize the space around you, you create a positive reflection within yourself. The environment is not just scenery, it silently influences every decision, every emotion and every action. Seneca already said that we need to choose well even the company we keep, because the habits and thoughts of others infiltrate ours without us realizing it. The external environment shapes our behavior much more than we realize. If you live with people who are always complaining, you soon find yourself complaining too. If you live in a chaotic place, your mind tends to become chaotic. The environment is not neutral, it educates. And here's the thing, changing the environment is one of the fastest ways to change yourself. Want mental clarity? Start by cleaning the desk before you work. Want more discipline? Organize your sleep schedules and meals. Want focus? Push away visual and digital distractions while you get a task done. They are not just external adjustments, but symbols that train your mind to respect limits and create space for the essential. The right environment works as fuel for discipline. It reminds you at every glance of the kind of life you want to build. So don't underestimate the strength of the environment. Organizing your return is not a waste of time. It is an investment in clarity, energy, and willpower. And the more aligned your outdoor space is, the easier it will be to align your indoor space. Everything that enters your mind, sooner or later, turns into thought, behavior, and even destiny. If you feed your mind with gossip, negative news, and empty talk, don't expect to have clarity or inner strength. The mind, like the body, lives on the diet it receives. And the question is, what is your mental diet today? Is it making you stronger or weakening you? Epictetus said that we must watch not only what we do, but also what we let into our soul. This includes books, music, videos, social networks, and even everyday dialogues. Everything leaves marks. What seems like just entertainment may actually be undermining your discipline and shaping your worldview. What seems harmless may be pushing you away from the life you want. Likewise, when you start to better select the content you consume, your mind goes through a real cleaning. It's like swapping fast food for nutritious food. At first it may be awkward, but then you feel the difference in body and energy. An inspiring book, a constructive podcast, a deep conversation. These things are vitamins for the mind. So take inventory of your mental diet. Ask yourself, what have I been feeding inside me? Does it strengthen me or distract me? Remember that life is a reflection of what you cultivate in your mind. If you want discipline, clarity, and stoic strength, feed yourself with ideas that support this path. What you consume not only shapes your mind, it also shapes who you are becoming. Many people confuse discipline with prison, as if it were a list of suffocating rules. But in fact, it is exactly the opposite. Discipline is the key that unlocks the doors to freedom. Think about it. Those who do not have the discipline to control their impulses become slaves to them. Those who cannot organize their routine become hostage to chaos. True freedom is not in doing everything you want, but in having the clarity and strength to choose what is right. Marcus Aurelius said that the soul finds peace when it is aligned with reason. That's what self-discipline does. It puts order in the middle of the mess. It's not rigidity, it's self-care. It is to say no to what weakens and yes to what strengthens. When you build firm habits, you gain more time, more energy, and more control over the direction of your life. It sounds like a restriction, but it's power. And here's the big turn. Every act of discipline is, at heart, an act of self-love. It's you taking care of your health, protecting your mind, organizing your life so that the best of you has room to flourish. Freedom is born from this solid foundation. Those who act with discipline do not live at the mercy of circumstances, but create conditions to grow in any scenario. So, when you hear the word discipline, don't associate it with harshness or punishment. See it as a gift you give yourself. Every organized routine, every habit you cultivate, every limit you respect is proof that you are building, brick by brick, a freer life. And this is where Stoicism becomes more than philosophy. It becomes practice, liberation, and destiny. Now that you've walked this path, an inevitable question remains. How long will you let life go on autopilot? Chaos doesn't go away on its own, and procrastination doesn't build a future. Only you can decide whether to continue to be a hostage of circumstances or to assume the role of architect of your own life. Each topic here is not distant theory, but applicable practice, starting with the small choices of your day. Look around and look inside. What needs to be put in order now? Your routine? His thoughts? Your environment? Don't wait for the perfect moment because it will never come. This is the moment, and discipline is the key. Remember, freedom is not the absence of limits, but the ability to choose clearly and firmly. And this is only born from a trained mind, consistent habits, and a long-term vision. So take a deep breath and commit to a concrete step today. It could be setting up your desk before work, turning off your phone for an hour, or writing down your goals for the week. Don't underestimate these gestures. They are seeds of transformation. Discipline doesn't have to be tough, but it does need to be constant. And every time you act, even in the midst of chaos, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you imagined. And if this content has awakened something in you, don't let the reflection die here. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and walk along on this journey of growth and clarity. Here, you will find more tools to keep your mind steady, your mind aligned, and your life organized. After all, as Marcus Aurelius once said, true freedom is to live according to your own nature.